Have you ever felt the temperature drop the moment you step onto the plane? The cold air, the buzz of boarding announcements, the shuffle of feet down the narrow aisle. It's the start of a journey filled with little unspoken rules. Now imagine this. You're finally buckled in, your window seat secured, ready to sit back and relax. But just a few rows down, a fellow passenger decides it's the perfect time to unpack a hot tuna sandwich. Another presses the call button like they're on a game show, and someone else, well, they're already barefoot. What most travelers don't realize is this. Flight attendants are not just smiling servers in the sky. They're trained professionals managing safety, service, and sometimes utter chaos, all while trying to keep their cool. And yes, there's a secret list. A list of things they wish every passenger knew. In today's video, we're lifting the curtain and revealing what really grinds their gears. Not to point fingers, but to help you become the kind of traveler they silently hope for. Because when you know better, you fly better. So buckle up. We're cruising into the sky-high etiquette guide flight attendants secretly dream of. 1. The boarding bathroom blunder. Picture this. The gate agent finally scans your boarding pass, the line snakes forward, and you're seconds away from settling into your seat. But just then, someone darts into the airplane lavatory. A harmless pit stop? Not quite. See, during boarding, the crew is on a strict timeline. They're counting passengers, checking seat assignments, and prepping for takeoff. And when someone decides to squeeze past rolling suitcases and impatient travelers to use the bathroom, it doesn't just delay the line, it disrupts the entire pre-flight flow. Even worse, those bathrooms are usually being cleaned or restocked during boarding. So you're not just sneaking in a quick break, you're stepping into someone's workplace while they're mid-task. Here's the golden rule for seasoned travelers. Use the airport bathroom before boarding. It's bigger, cleaner, and spares you the cold stare of the 22 people you just held up behind you. And trust me, flight attendants remember the ones who help things run smoothly. You want to be on that list. 2. Baggage battles in the sky. You've seen them. Maybe you've even been one. The traveler who strolls down the aisle balancing a roller bag, a bulging backpack, a neck pillow the size of a Labrador, a tote bag dangling off one arm, and a plastic bag from duty-free swinging like a wrecking ball. It's not just a personal style, it's a full-contact sport. Here's the behind-the-scenes truth. Overhead bins aren't bottomless, and when one person takes more than their share, everyone else scrambles. Flight attendants become reluctant puzzle masters, forced to shift, stack, and squeeze bags like a Tetris game they never signed up for. The chaos doesn't stop there. Some folks stash their backpack 5 rows ahead of their seat for convenience, forcing others to backtrack, jam things in sideways, or, worst of all, gate-check their bag because there's no room left. So how do you earn instant respect from the crew and fellow passengers? Stick to one carry-on and one personal item. Place the smaller one under the seat in front of you and stow your larger item above your seat, not someone else's. And never, ever hog multiple bins. Want to be the hero at 35,000 feet? Travel light. Share the space. Trust me, flight attendants have a silent appreciation file in their minds, and organized passengers are always filed under favorites. 3. The scent offense. The cabin lights dim. You settle into your seat, maybe even close your eyes for a moment of peace. And then, it hits. Not turbulence. Something worse. The unmistakable waft of egg salad. Somewhere nearby, someone's popped open a container of leftovers. Or maybe it's spicy takeout, or worse, socks that should have retired 2 flights ago. And now, in a pressurized tube 35,000 feet above Earth, there's nowhere to hide. Flight attendants have a saying, it's not just your nose, it's everyone's nose. Unlike your living room, airplanes recycle air through a closed-loop system. That means your curry, your cologne, or your au naturel scent travels down the aisle like an uninvited guest. And while crew members are trained to smile, that doesn't mean they aren't silently suffering through your foot funk. So here's the fix. If it wouldn't pass the church pew test, don't bring it on the plane. Go easy on perfume. Skip the stinky snacks. And unless your socks are fresh and fabulous, keep your shoes on. Your seatmate will thank you. The crew will thank you. And you won't go down in in-flight history as the passenger who unleashed the tuna apocalypse. 4. Zoned out, cart stalled. You're in your happy place. noise-canceling headphones on, movie halfway through. Maybe you've even found that rare unicorn of economy comfort, a quiet seat, the perfect recline angle, and no toddlers in kicking range. Life is good until a hand waves in front of your face. It's not a ghost, it's your flight attendant, and they're politely trying to ask, coffee or tea? Now, we've all been there, but here's what many travelers forget. Being zoned out might be blissful for you, but it's a roadblock for the crew. Every time they have to tap, wave, or repeat themselves 3 times just to get a response, the entire drink cart timeline gets pushed back. And when that cart gets stalled, guess what? The folks in rows 32 to 48 start wondering why their snacks are taking forever. You don't need to be chatty, just do this. Take off one ear cup when you see the cart coming. Make eye contact. Nod if you want water. Say no thank you if you don't. It's that simple. This tiny courtesy, it keeps everything flowing. It shows respect. And it lets the crew know you see them, not just as service providers, but as people doing a job with a clock ticking in the background. Plus, you'll get your ginger ale faster. Win-win. 5. Musical chairs at 35,000 feet. You've spotted it, the holy grail of air travel, an empty row. You glance around, no one's claimed it. You give it a few minutes, just in case. Then you lean over to the flight attendant and whisper with hopeful eyes, "Can I move there?" Seems innocent, right? Here's what you might not realize. Changing seats mid-flight is like pulling a thread on a tightly woven sweater. It might seem small, but it can unravel a lot more than you think. First, there's weight distribution. Believe it or not, aircrafts are finely balanced, not just in the cargo hold, but in the cabin. If enough people shift around, especially to empty rows, it can throw things off, especially on smaller planes. Then there's safety protocols. In the event of an emergency, heaven forbid, flight attendants need to know exactly who is seated where. Your name is tied to a seat number. Changing that on the fly, it messes up head counts, delays service, and causes confusion during turbulence or cabin checks. And let's not forget, you're not the only one who saw that row. Move without permission, and suddenly we've got a game of musical chairs, with no music and plenty of tension. So what should you do? Want a better seat? Ask at the gate, pay for the upgrade, or get lucky with a kind check-in agent. But once you're airborne, honor your seat like it's your own little floating island. It may not be first class, but it's part of the plan. Trust me, being the seat switcher might get you an eye roll behind the curtain. Or a very polite, "Please return to your assigned seat." 6. The danger ding. Standing during the seatbelt sign ding. The seatbelt sign lights up, the plane jiggles slightly, maybe just a bump. You glance at the glowing symbol and decide it's the perfect time to stand up and grab your lip balm. What could possibly go wrong? Well, imagine this. You're halfway to the overhead bin, and suddenly the plane dips like it just hit a pothole in the sky. You lurch, your arm flails, and now you're either on the floor, in someone's lap, or face first into the drink cart. It happens more than you'd think. Here's the thing. When the seatbelt sign is on, it's not a suggestion. It's a seatbelt-shaped lifeline. Even flight attendants strap in when things get bumpy. If they're sitting down, that's your cue to stay put. But I really need my book, you might say. Or your snack, or your emotional support Sudoku. Let's be honest. Unless your bag is on fire or your pants are falling off, it can wait. Turbulence is unpredictable. What feels like a gentle sway could turn into a surprise sky rodeo. And the last place you want to be during that is standing on one foot reaching into an overhead bin. Plus, flight attendants are trained to assist in emergencies. They're not trained to tackle a flying passenger who thought their phone charger couldn't wait 10 more minutes. So next time you hear that ding, take a deep breath. Stay seated. Maybe tighten your belt just a bit, like a seatbelt-powered hug from the universe reminding you. Not now, cowboy. 7. The call button Olympics, there it is. That innocent little button above your seat, glowing, tempting, powerful. You press it once, need a glass of water. Fine. Press it twice, forgot your blanket. Understandable. Press it every 5 minutes for more peanuts, updates on the weather in Boise, and to ask if you can maybe land first because you have a tight connection? Congratulations. You've just qualified for the call button Olympics. And flight attendants, they're not giving you a gold medal. They're giving you the look. Here's what you might not realize. Every press of that button sends a signal to the galley. Someone needs help. When the crew sees that glow, they have to pause what they're doing, reassess priorities, and head your way thinking, is it medical? Is someone fainting? Is there smoke? So when it turns out you just wanted a second ginger ale because the first one had too much fizz, yeah, that glow dims fast. And here's the scary part. If real emergencies happen, and yes they do, the crew needs to know that a lit call button means something urgent. When passengers overuse it, they're not just being needy, they're blurring the line between minor requests and potential emergencies. So here's the tip. Use it, but use it wisely. You're not summoning a genie, you're asking a human, mid-shift, juggling service, safety, and 70 other passengers. Need something? Absolutely. Press it. But don't treat it like a room service bell in a Vegas suite. Because the truth is, no one wants to be remembered as the ding-a-ding-ding person on row 27. And trust me, they do remember. 8. The menu amnesia moment. You've been seated for over an hour. The engines are humming, the plane's at cruising altitude, and you've browsed the in-flight magazine, watched half an episode of Blue Bloods, and even flipped through the menu, twice. Then comes the cart. The flight attendant smiles, reaches your row, and asks, chicken or pasta? And you stare blankly, eyes wide, mouth slightly open, as if someone just asked you to name all the moons of Jupiter. What are my options again? Ah, yes. Welcome to the menu amnesia moment. A phenomenon so common, it could have its own zip code. Now here's the thing. Flight attendants aren't chefs. They're not food critics. And no, they don't have time to lovingly disable rosemary undertones in the rehydrated mashed potatoes. They're running on a schedule. Each delay in your decision means a longer wait for everyone behind you. And that includes parents with restless toddlers, seniors trying to nap, and people on tight connections. It's not just about courtesy, it's about momentum. So what can you do? Look at the menu. Remember what's on it. Decide before the cart arrives. Can't choose? Just say, surprise me. You might actually get the better option. Flight attendants secretly love that. And here's a little secret. Indecisiveness doesn't make you charming at 35,000 feet. It makes the service crawl, the cart stall, and the crew sigh quietly through their gritted smiles. So channel your inner Gordon Ramsay, pick your dish, and be ready. Because the only thing worse than airplane food is waiting for someone else to pick it. 9. The trash trickster. The snack cart has come and gone. You've enjoyed your soda, your pretzels, maybe even a chocolate bar or two. Now it's time to relax, right? So what do you do with your napkin, your empty wrapper, that half-torn boarding pass you don't need anymore? If your answer is, I just shove it into the seat back pocket, congratulations, you've officially become the trash trickster. Yes, that pocket in front of you, it's not your personal mini dumpster, it's shared space. It holds safety cards, air sickness bags, maybe a magazine. What it should not contain is your collection of snack debris and mystery tissues rolled into balls like you're building a snowman out of germs. And here's where it gets real. Flight attendants don't have time to deep clean every pocket between flights. On a tight turnaround, they may have minutes, yes, minutes, to tidy up an entire cabin before new passengers board. So what happens? The next traveler reaches into the pocket to grab the safety card, and instead finds your sticky gum wrapper. Gross is an understatement. What's worse? Some people hand over their trash, while flight attendants are mid-drink service, juggling trays, hot coffee, and fragile plastic cups. It's like tossing garbage at a juggler and hoping they catch it with a smile. Here's how to do better. Hold on to your trash until the trash bag comes by. Don't force your used napkins into someone's hand mid-cart. And please, for the love of cleanliness, never leave behind a tissue graveyard. Want to be remembered as a classy traveler? Treat your seat like your living room when guests are coming over, not like the back seat of your teenager's car. Because nothing says I'm a considerate human more than a clean row and an empty pocket. 10. The safety show snoozer. The lights dim. A smiling flight attendant steps into the aisle, demo kit in hand. Over the speakers, a calm voice begins, "Welcome aboard. Please direct your attention to the safety demonstration." And just like that, headphones go in, eyes glaze over, and half the cabin becomes a sea of scrolling thumbs and vacant stares. Welcome to the safety show snooze zone. We get it. You've flown before. You know where the exits are, or at least, you think you do. And surely you'll remember how to use a life vest when the time comes, right? Wrong. Here's the truth. Flight attendants wish you knew. In a real emergency, panic doesn't ask if you paid attention last time. When oxygen masks drop or a landing gets rough, muscle memory matters. Seconds matter. And no one wants to be the passenger asking, wait, do I inflate the vest before or after leaving the plane? Answer, after. Always after. Even seasoned travelers admit they forget the details. Exit rows can change. Some planes have life rafts, others don't. And that little card in your seat back, it's not decorative art, it's literally a survival guide. But let's set aside the drama for a second. You know what else listening to the safety demo does? It shows respect. For the crew, for the training they've undergone, and for the invisible responsibility they carry every time the plane lifts off the ground. It costs you 2 minutes of attention. That's less time than you spent choosing your airport snack. So, next time that demo starts, pause your movie, look up, and pretend it's your first flight, even if it's your 500th. Because when it comes to safety at 35,000 feet, the smartest passengers are the ones still listening. 11. The unwanted touch. The aisle is tight, the cabin's buzzing. You need something, maybe a glass of water, maybe to ask when we land. And then, without a second thought, you reach out, tap. A gentle touch on the arm, or the shoulder, or, please no, the waist. Congratulations, you've just crossed into the no-touch zone. You see, flight attendants aren't mannequins. They're not furniture. They're not part of the aircraft decor. They are professionals, and grabbing them, especially from behind, is not only startling, it's downright inappropriate. Imagine you're at a restaurant. Your server is walking by with a tray of hot drinks. Would you reach out and grab their hip to get their attention? Of course not. So why do it mid-flight? And here's the real issue. Flight attendants move fast. They're balancing turbulence, trays, and time. A sudden touch can throw them off, literally. They've had people grab ankles, wrists, even tap them on the head while they were bending to help someone else. It's not just rude, it can be unsafe. So here's what to do instead. Use your voice. A simple "excuse me" goes a long way. Use the call button if they're out of reach, wisely, as you learned in Part 7. Or, if they're nearby, make eye contact and gesture politely. Remember, respect is universal, and at 35,000 feet, a little courtesy carries more weight than your carry-on. Because the only thing worse than being ignored mid-flight is being startled into spilling hot coffee all over row 22 because someone thought a pat on the back was the polite thing to do. 12. The camera trap. You've seen it before. Maybe even thought about doing it yourself. A flight attendant seems annoyed. Someone's being denied an extra drink. Voice is raised slightly, and suddenly a passenger whips out their phone and hits record. The plan? Capture a viral moment. The result? Welcome to the camera trap. In today's world, we're all just one upload away from 15 seconds of fame or infamy. But here's what most people forget. An airplane is not a film set. It's not a courtroom. It's not YouTube. It's a workplace. When you record crew members without permission, especially during a tense moment, you're not gathering evidence. You're escalating a situation. You're putting someone's job and privacy at risk. And you're creating anxiety for everyone within 5 rows of you. Let's put it another way. Would you walk into someone's office, hold up your phone and start filming them mid-conversation? No? Then don't do it at 35,000 feet either. And here's the dark irony. Many of the viral flight moments that light up social media often leave out key context. The shouting, the finger-pointing, the so-called rude flight attendant, most of it stems from passengers ignoring rules or pushing boundaries that were clearly explained 10 times before takeoff. Now, if something serious happens, discrimination, abuse, clear misconduct, you absolutely have the right to report it. But do it the right way. File a complaint. Contact the airline. Follow up after you land. Because the aisle of an airplane is not a courtroom. And filming without consent isn't justice. It's drama. And the sky has enough turbulence without adding tension that didn't need to be there in the first place. 13. Galley gossip. The cabin feels cramped. You need to stretch your legs, so you wander toward the back past sleepy passengers and softly glowing aisle lights. And there it is, the galley. It's quiet, dimly lit, peaceful. a little haven away from crying babies and cramped elbows. You figure, why not lean here for a bit? You've just crossed the invisible line into galley gossip territory, and trust me, the crew noticed. What most passengers don't realize is this. The galley isn't a break room. It's the crew's entire office, pantry, first aid station, and emergency headquarters all rolled into one. It's where they prep drinks, restock carts, handle onboard issues, and yes, sometimes take their only 2 minutes to breathe. When you loiter there, leaning, stretching, scrolling TikTok, you're not just taking a walk. You're blocking the only workspace they have. And in a high-stress environment, that tiny square of linoleum is sacred ground. It might feel harmless. You're not talking. You're not in the way. Right? Wrong. Imagine trying to prep 30 drinks in a closet while someone leans on your countertop and checks their email. Now add turbulence. That's the galley. And here's where the real tension builds. During emergencies or turbulence, that space becomes vital. Medical kits are stored there. Oxygen bottles. Defibrillators. If something serious happens and you're blocking access, every second counts. And your little stretch break becomes a safety hazard. Want to stretch? Do a slow walk down the aisle. Flex your ankles at your seat. But please, don't turn the galley into your social lounge, because while you're enjoying the peace and quiet, someone behind the curtain is silently mouthing, "Why? Are they still here?" 14. The Phantom Recline. The lights are low. The movie's good. You've finished your snack, and now, it's time. You slowly reach down, press the button, and ease your seat into the reclined position with the grace of a cat stretching in the sun. Ah, finally, comfort. Except, ding. An announcement crackles overhead. Ladies and gentlemen, please return your seat backs and tray tables to the upright position for landing. You pretend not to hear it. You shift slightly, but leave your seat tilted. You think, it's only a little. They won't notice. But here's the thing. They always notice. Flight attendants are trained to do cabin checks before descent. They look for seat backs, tray tables, and carry-ons out of place. And yes, they can see your rebellious little recline even if it's just an inch. Why does it matter? Because in an emergency landing, your seat position can determine how fast the person behind you escapes. The safety angle isn't just a rule, it's geometry and physics and people's lives. Reclining at the wrong time, you're blocking someone's path to safety. Not dramatic, just true. And here's the kicker. When you pretend to sleep so you don't have to adjust your seat, it puts the crew in a tough spot. They have to choose between waking you up and being labeled rude, or hoping nothing goes wrong while you're fully reclined with a ginger ale rolling toward your elbow. Want to earn silent gratitude from the crew? Sit up when asked. Don't play possum. And don't be the reason the descent checklist gets delayed, because reclining is a privilege. But reclining during final approach? That's like running onto the stage after the show's over. Awkward, dangerous, and guaranteed to get you remembered for the wrong reason. 15. The cabin aftermath. The wheels touch down. A light bounce. Then applause. Yes, some people still do that. Seatbelt signs go ding, and passengers spring to life like it's the starting gun of a sprint. Overhead bins fling open. Bags are yanked down. Everyone's ready to escape. But look at your seat. Look at what you're leaving behind. A crumpled napkin wedged between the cushions, cookie crumbs decorating the tray table. That used tissue you stuffed into the seat back pocket, just for a minute. 3 hours ago. Welcome to the cabin aftermath. And you, my friend, have just turned your row into a post-apocalyptic snack zone. Now here's the thing most passengers never think about. Flight attendants don't disappear when you leave. The crew doesn't float off into a break room while someone else cleans the plane. In many cases, they've got 30 minutes or less to reset that entire aircraft for the next flight, sometimes with barely enough time to breathe. That means picking up your wrappers, your half-empty cup, your mystery cheese stick that rolled under the seat 2 hours ago and now lives there rent-free. Leaving your seat a mess isn't just inconsiderate, it's sabotage. It's asking someone who's been working non-stop for 12 hours to pick up after you, like a parent cleaning a toddler's high chair. But here's the beautiful truth. It doesn't take much to be the opposite. Collect your trash, wipe your table, tuck your blanket back neatly, and maybe, just maybe, say thank you as you leave. Because while you may not see it, the crew notices. And that silent, exhausted glance they give your empty, spotless row? That's a rare kind of gratitude. The kind that travels with you long after the flight. In a world of sky-high stress and recycled air, kindness still flies first class. And there you have it, 15 things flight attendants secretly wish every passenger knew. Maybe you've done a few of these things before. Maybe you're just realizing now how much goes on behind that polite smile and tidy uniform. Either way, now you know. And when you know better, you fly better. Not just for yourself, but for the crew, your fellow passengers, and the quiet rhythm of a flight done right. Because air travel isn't just about getting from A to B. It's about sharing a space, respecting the people around you, and carrying a little more grace at 35,000 feet. That's the kind of traveler who doesn't just arrive, but arrives remembered. So next time you take to the skies, pack your patience, bring your kindness, and maybe leave the egg salad at home. If you found yourself nodding along or thinking, wow, I never knew that, hit that like button. Share this with your favorite travel buddy, the one who always forgets to use the restroom before boarding. And of course, subscribe to TravelVibes for more real talk, smart tips, and stories that help you fly smarter, lighter, and kinder. Until next time, safe travels, soft landings, and may your overhead bin always be empty when you board.